Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for an edition of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. It is the Nextel Cup Series Custom Schedule Season Race number 2, and it will take place at the Dodge Raceway for the Dodge Dealers 400. A 400-lap race around just about a third-mile short track. Bull rank around a football field in a football stadium, much like the Busch Clash will be taking place this weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series, kicking off the real NASCAR 2022 season. So, we're going to have a stadium short track race of our own. Not just any stadium short track race, but one, again, in a football stadium, just like in real life this weekend. And that is why this is the second race of the schedule. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we are about to get into this stream here tonight. And then, prediction video will be out on the channel later on tonight. Be on the lookout for that. Hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss the upload. My 2022 NASCAR predictions, playoff predictions, race predictions for each race this season, at least from the start. And we'll see if I can get as many, if not all, the predictions correct in that video for the season. Without further ado, let's start this race. We'll be starting from the rear, 43rd of the 43 cars in the field. We'll see if Greg Biffle can win the first 2 races of the season. He's coming off a win in the season opener at the Daytona road course last weekend. So 5 days ago, Biffle was able to get his first win. We'll see what he can do here. Green flag is in the air. Tony Stewart on the pole for the second straight race to start the season. Never raced here in the Cup Series. Not only on the channel, but maybe ever for the full races. So this is a new task for these 43 drivers, a new track. They have a lot of time to figure it out. I have no clue exactly how many pit stops are going to be in this race. I'd imagine 1 or 2. But we'll have to wait and see how that's going to play itself out as well. How many cautions are we going to see in today's race? I could see us seeing quite a few. We only had 1 at the Daytona road course. Biffle already got to go 3 wide underneath Scott Wimmer and Ward Burton. Wimmer in the middle, the rookie, trying to battle his way through. Biffle does not want to make contact, trying to race as clean as possible in the early going of the race, knowing that this is a long race. Dark Crypto, Patrick Shadley, Joshua Rumsey, Billy Kramer, Ashton G, Jerry Boylard, welcome to the stream. Stewart's led the first 5 laps already. Santiago Kid, welcome to the stream also. Greg Biffle running the Granger paint scheme for the first time this year. Ran the National Guard scheme already, and now they're, look at this, they're nearly 4 wide at the Dodge Raceway of all racetracks. Biffle inside the top 35 now. Racing under his teammate Matt Kenseth. Another one of his teammates, Jeff Burton's moving up through the field. 3 wide off the exit of turn 2. Biffle is making up some ground here early. Jimmy Johnson starting towards the back. He had a top 10 in the season opener. 3 wide now in front of Biffle. Rusty Wallace to the inside. A lot of 3 wide action in the early going of this race so far tonight. Not really a lot of contact though. Through 10 laps at least. Sure, that'll change as we get closer to the end. Speaking of contact, I think we just saw our first little bit of the night. That outside lane, a couple cars got stacked up. Congrats on your promotion, Patrick. It's going to be one of those races that's going to be tough to look in the chat throughout the course of the night, but I'll do as good as I possibly can. Biffle not only scored the win at the Daytona road course, but he ended up having a max points day, leading the most laps and winning the race. Tony Stewart really pulling away from the field right now, and I'm sure he'll get to lap traffic fairly soon. Biffle's already gotten his way through half the field. Passes Bobby Boone in the 149 car now. Underneath teammate Mark Martin. Into turn 1. Team should you race for an ignition? Well, my vote's for Penske. Ryan Blaney running there. Biffle down on the apron, got a bit loose trying to get back to the throttle. Barely kept it off the 40 of Sterling Marlin. Working under another generated driver in the 178. Biffle's clear off the exit of turn 2. Biffle won the first 2 Busch Series races on the custom schedule season, and he's won the first Cup race on the custom schedule season. Can he win the second Cup race now? They go 4 for 4 in the first 4 races of this 2004 schedule, makeshift schedule. Between both series combined, a little contact with Ricky Rudd off the exit of turn 2. Biffle drops back in line behind the 21 of Rudd. Longtime veterans in front of Biffle of Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd. Dale Jarrett as well just in front. A couple of former champions in Wallace and Jarrett. Rudd was never able to get a championship one. The 122 car got to be picked, and look at Rudd trying to put the bumper to Biffle into turn 3. Instead, Rudd's just going to continue to stay on the outside. He's got nowhere to go with the 122 in front of him. I think that's why he tried to put the bumper to Biffle and just squeeze to the inside as quick as he could. And looks like he got passed by Casey Kane in the 9. Biffle under Wallace. And now under Jarrett into turn 3, and Biffle has cracked the top 10 from 43rd to 10th in just 26 laps. That's unbelievable. Wallace follows Biffle to get by Jarrett as well. He hopped in line quick enough to make sure Casey Kane wasn't going to get around him. Wallace overdrives turn 3, and Jarrett will try to cross him over, but he can't quite get to the bottom because Casey Kane is underneath the 88 right now. Biffle's still about 6 seconds behind Stewart, even though he's inside the top 10. I would imagine this race is still going to fly by, even though it's 400 laps. The lap times are pretty fast right now. 13.1 is Biffle's fastest lap. That last lap was about a 13.272. And the same exact lap time, 2 laps consecutively. Some of the bigger threats were Ryan Newman, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Tony Stewart back at the Daytona road course. Stewart picking up where he left off, at least from the start of the last race, leading laps. He's doing that here. We'll bump and run for Biffle on Bobby Labonte to make the pass for 9th place. A couple of Chevrolets in front of him, just past one of them. Still got Brian Vickers and Kevin Harvick next on the list. Trying to dive underneath Vickers. He's there. And up to 8th. Biffle has not caught any lap cars yet, but there's a whole bunch of them coming up pretty soon. Biffle under Harvick. And now into the lap traffic. Saw some sparks flying out of the windshield of the 16. Dale Earnhardt Jr. stuck on the outside. He can't get to the bottom. Biffle will beat him there, and he'll pass Jr. for 6th. Greg Biffle is screaming through this field right now, even before the lap traffic. And he's only made contact a couple times. Will bump to the back of Craven. Knocks him out of the way. 3 wide now. To get around a couple lap cars. A little more contact with Craven. And Craven's going to try to cross Biffle over, and Biffle's stuck on the outside. Trying to get back down to the bottom, and does. Just able to stay in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. that time. Yeah, the pits will be on the right side tonight. The only oval on the schedule in which they will have to fuel the cars from the right side and then service the left side tires before the right sides, similar to some road courses on the schedule. 3 wide again into the next corner as Biffle gets around Craven with no contact that time around. Craven overdrives turn 1 just a bit. They can get to lap 50 before Biffle hits halfway on fuel. It could definitely be a one-stop race today. 175 in the middle. Got a little tight for Biffle that time to keep it off of him. Slid the tires a bit. A little contact in the middle of 3 and 4 as he roughs his way by. Tony Stewart still led every lap. Track position is going to be a major key in this race today. To be so patient getting back into the gas at this racetrack, especially when you're on the inside of another driver. Not really seeing speeds up over 100 miles an hour today. Barely up over 100 miles an hour at least. And for a very short period of time if they do end up getting there on the straightaways. Oh! Bump and run now on Ryan Newman in the 12. Biffle inside the top 5 for the first time tonight. Took him about 50 laps. Teammate Jeff Burt will let him by. And now we'll make the pass on teammate Kurt Busch to be the highest running Roush Fenway Ford now inside the top 5. And Biffle's rolling pretty good right now. Just less than 3 seconds off the lead. Another teammate, Matt Kenseth, the lap down. Cerebral Assassin, welcome to the stream and rock on. A bump to Waltrip. Waltrip squeezes Biffle back. He didn't appreciate that. Biffle stays in line behind him as Waltrip blocks. Mikey might be a lap down. Biffle's got to be careful. Don't want to damage the car too much in the early going. Waltrip having a strong run early as well right now. Doesn't want to get turned, and he lets Biffle go for third. Yeah, I think Lesnar's going to win the chamber as well. I don't want to overthink it. I feel like he's going to be the last one in, and he's just going to kill everybody. Similar to how Goldberg did in 2003. The only difference is Lesnar's going to win it instead of somebody taking him out with a sledgehammer at the end. So Jeff Gordon looks to be in second place, just up ahead. Biffle is just less than 1 second off race leader Tony Stewart. A little contact with the lap car of the 153. Biffle under Gordon for second. Contact with Gordon as he traps him behind Wimmer. And now eyes set on Tony Stewart. Couple more lap cars for Biffle to get there. 3 wide underneath Ward Burton, who's in the middle, really pinching Greg Biffle down. Tony Stewart with the block into turn 1, trying to crowd the 16 of Biffle as Biffle is underneath him for the lead. Stewart leads the first 60 laps, but at lap 61, it'll be Greg Biffle out in front at the Dodge Raceway. 5 bonus points for leading that lap that time, and now we'll see how many laps he can lead. Stewart's still hanging on to second. He's at least a few car lengths in front of Gordon, maybe a bit more than that. A couple lap cars now in between the top two, though, once again. And Biffle's just clawing through this field. He had the fastest car at the Daytona road course when he got the clean air. I think, clean air or not, he's got the fastest car in this race today. Should be a one-stopper. Oh, contact here. Squeezing Biffle off the exit of turn 2. See, now we're at that point, though, where Biffle's got the lead. He doesn't have to be super, super aggressive. He's already pulling away from Tony Stewart, and we're not even 100 laps in. He's made quite a bit of contact with some aggressive moves and some bump and runs to get through the field. Now he's just got to protect the right front of the race car, especially. Hope that nothing major ends up happening. Biffle sideways. Drove it in a bit flat into turn 1 that time, and he slid up the track, almost making contact with Jamie McMurray in the 42. Contact with McMurray. Got hung up there. I don't know what's going on right now. It says that there's 10 people watching, then it flashes down to 1 person watching. You guys seen that too? Now it's 11. What's going on? Have to let me know down in the chat if it's the concurrent viewers are on your guys' screen is kind of flashing. I don't see Goldberg facing Reigns, personally. C12. It must just be on my end. Yeah, now it's saying 1 again. Now back to 11. Now 12. Fluctuating all over the place. 10 likes already on the stream. That's good. Thank you for everybody hitting that like button only in the first 100 laps of tonight's 400 lap race. Contact with Bobby Labonte a little repetitively. Biffle's lapped quite a few cars already. Vickers was in the top 10 earlier. Labonte was just outside the top 10 when Biffle had worked his way through the field the first time. Biffle trying to get back down to the bottom before Labonte could get there. Edwin Justice, welcome to the stream. Tyler Burback, welcome as well. Biffle to the inside of Elliott Sadler. Trying to put Sadler a lap down. Sadler squeezing 3 wide middle, trying to hang on for all attempts and purposes, but it's not going to work out for him. Free pass will be awarded to the first car lap down if we do get a caution. Say if, because we only had 1 at the Daytona road course, and it came in the final 20 laps of the race. Biffle Not dominating the laps led. Stewart led the first 60 before Biffle took the lead, but Biffle is pulling away, and I'd say easily has the fastest car in the field. But knowing it took him that long to get through the field goes to show how hard it is to pass here, which is not surprising when you look at the racetrack. I hope there's not too much carnage at Daytona. I enjoy super speedway and restrictor plate racing for how close they are and how fast they are going, and the ability to be able to hold that for a long period of time while still racing aggressively too, especially when it ramps up towards the finish. That's what I love. You know, I don't want to see them crash. I think a lot of that has to do with me racing growing up, though at the same time. I feel like people who generally, even if it's not like a top level, somebody who has raced and knows, you know, the hardships of repairing equipment, whether you have billions of dollars or hundreds of dollars to spend on a weekly basis, that I don't like seeing torn up sheet metal, personally. Plus, at Daytona Talladega, there's a high risk of injury if something like that happens, so I personally don't like to see it. That's not what I get excited for when it comes to super speedway racing. Let's just say that much. There will definitely be carnage at the LA Coliseum. I'd be shocked if there isn't. I mean, I don't think there's going to be like a giant wreck or anything. I feel like if there's going to be caution, it's going to be people dumping other people. That's going to be typical short track race. It's similar to the Martinsville crashes we saw in the Cup Series race there in the fall. Like those level of accidents. Over to Bobby Boone. Contact with Casey Kane. We'll stack up. Biffle into Newman. Definitely been making quite a bit of contact in the first 100 laps. Biffle trying to intimidate Ryan Newman in the 12. Seeing if he's going to make a mistake at all and could open a pathway for Biffle to try and make a pass on the Rocket Man. Oh boy, Newman got loose that time. Allows Biffle to get to the inside into turn 1. Just enough of momentum lost. And that will work out as Greg Biffle will make the pass. Cleanly done. That was the perfect way to intimidate somebody. Biffle slides a bit. Fortunate to keep it off of Wimmer in the 22 car. Using up the 153. It's like the third time he's gotten into him already today. Three wide under Newman's teammate, Rusty Wallace. Bit of contact that time. Biffle will make the pass. Contact with Dale Jr. My goodness. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today when we get back to the start-finish line. We're at lap 106 at the Dodge Raceway. One of the Dodge cars on the outside of Biffle that time as Biffle races around the bottom. Just less than 300 laps to go. See, the right front's crinkled a little bit on Biffle's car. That maybe is a sign that he's fast. It'd be a little different if it was on the back of his race car, then he'd be in the way. Can make a clean pass on his teammate, both Mark Martin and Kurt Busch that last lap. Biffle to the inside of Scott Riggs in the 10. A lot of rookies in the field in this 2004 season. I think it could be qualified as a super speedway because of the length. I'd say the same for the Indy Oval, too. Should they have restricted plates? No, because they have to slow down enough in the corners that it's not a constant speed, and that's why they don't hold well over 200 miles an hour, so they don't need restrictor plates, but... For terminology reasons, though, I agree with you. I think the reason, though, why they don't call it a super speedway, I think it helps, especially in the restrictor plate era, more than anything else. But in the restrictor plate era, it helps differentiate, okay, when you say super speedway, that specifically means restrictor plate race. Or slow down speed race. Still caution free over 100 laps into this one. Quite surprised, all things considered. A lot more clean racing, though, going on this Cup Series season, as far as lack of cautions compared to the Busch Series season. Biffle got out to about a 6 to 6.5 second lead. He hasn't been able to grow it that much more on Stewart since, as they've been fairly even through lap traffic for the most part. Bit of contact that time. Biffle going 3 wide with Brendan Gaughan in the middle. The 111 fantasy-generated rookie driver that was up on the outside. While Terry Labonte nearly got in the back of Joe Nemechek and slid up the track behind Derek Cope. Labonte and Cope go another lap down. Biffle drives by front row Joe Nemechek. Can't be that many cars on the lead lap. Biffle's still under 7 seconds ahead of second place, assuming it's still Stewart. Just a bit less than a half a track lead. Rudd goes up the track to try and put the bumper to the 43 of Jeff Green, allowing Biffle to go 3 wide to the inside. A bit of contact with Rudd as he gets through. Puts them both another lap down. Gets by Wimmer quickly. All over the back of Dale Jarrett next. Contact with Jarrett. A bit of a slide that time off the exit of turn 2 as well. Rudd drives it really deep into turn 3, almost got into Biffle. He put the bumper to Biffle earlier. That was really the only time somebody's gotten into the back of the 16. That was when they were battling just in the back half of the top 10 earlier. Biffle's trying to work his way through the field. Big shift up the track to Dale Jarrett. Biffle moves him. 3/8 mile short track. I guess out of... Is 3/8 bigger than a third? Yeah, it's a 0.375 mile racetrack. I can't remember what the decimal comes out to. McMurray putting the bumper to Jimmy Johnson. As they shift upwards on the racetrack, Greg Biffle will lap them both to the inside. Get by his teammate Matt Kenseth again as well. Pretty good at math, but at the same time, when it comes to, you know, those decimals, tend to forget from time to time what the fractions equate to, decimal-wise. I mean, I was accurate in the sense I said a little over a third. Quarter tank of gas left for Greg Biffle. That's going to be interesting. I thought he might have had a chance to make it to lap 200, so this would be a one-stop race today, but I guess it may be closer to a two-stop race than what we were originally expecting. Hypno Fant, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I knew 1/3 was 3 repeating, but I honestly forgot what 3/8 was. That's what happens when I've been out of school for as long as I have. Not like it's been that long in the grand scheme of things. It's only been a few years. That's all it takes, though. You're not doing that kind of math every day. 18 people watching right now. 12 likes on the stream. Smash the like button. Cup races on this game. We have been consistently up over 25 likes by the end of the stream. So that's the goal tonight, 25 to 30. I think we could easily get there. We're not even halfway home yet. We're already about halfway to that total. Join some short track racing inside a football stadium. Just like the Busch Clash we'll be doing on Sunday. Their qualifying's tomorrow night. But between the qualifying heat races, the last chance races, and the main event, I'll be doing live commentary all Sunday long with the action at the LA Memorial Coliseum for the Busch Light Clash. Our first live commentary event of the season. Can't wait to watch that race with you guys. It's Michael Waltrip. He's had a great day so far. He's still on the lead lap. He's hoping for a quick yellow so he can remain on the lead lap. He was up in 3rd place earlier when Biffle passed him for position, working his way through the field. Biffle's already led for over 80 laps now consecutively as he gets the bumper on the back of the 15 of Waltrip. And Waltrip is now the first car 1 lap down. And Tony Stewart in the 20 is now the next car to go a lap down. These other cars that Biffle's passed between Waltrip and Stewart are already a lap down. We'll have to see how the pit stop cycle things through as well. Biffle's going to stay out as long as he possibly can, hoping he can make it another 50 laps so it is only a one-stopper to the finish. I don't think he's going to be able to, though. I think he's going to be a bit short of it, but we'll see if everybody else can make it that far, though. Have to wait and see if anybody can, because that's a couple lap difference. And making an extra pit stop and not making that extra pit stop. Biffle definitely doesn't want to be the first one to pit because he could go a couple laps down. And in fact, Tony Stewart pits that time by. He went a lap down the lap before, decides to pit, trying to get back on the lead lap for when everything cycles through. So green flag pit stop starting, at least for Tony Stewart, unless he had an issue. And I don't think he had an issue because there's two more cars that just pulled into the pit lane that time by. And we're going to have a lot more cars pulling into the pits now, so Biffle's got to make sure he's going to stay extremely low off the exit of turn 2. And really all the way down the backstretch because of the cars that will be exiting the pit lane as well. This is where we can see our first caution of the day. Cars entering and leaving that pit lane. It's so narrow both ways. That would stink for someone like Stewart, who was in the top 5. Went a lap down. Biffle's still not the only car in the lead lap. He's got just over a 9-second lead. He has not caught Jeff Gordon to put him a lap down yet, so I would assume he's towards the front of the field. Riley Pruitt, welcome to the stream. Caution for the first time today. Trouble somewhere on the racetrack. Looked like there was a car that might have hit the tire barrier. So caution in the middle of green flag pit stops. Jeff Burton, wow, got wiped out and forced into the pit lane in extra time, it looked like. A little 3-car pileup on the pit road entrance / exit. One of the generated drivers got into Jeff Burton. Somebody stacked up. I believe it was Casey Mears on the 41 in the back of the 123. And, man, this is interesting. Biffle will... Oh. Well, Biffle was going to pit. Instead, he will stay out on the restart and maintain the race lead. I would have to assume Jeff Gordon pit. 40 laps to go. Green flag back in the air at Dodge Raceway. Biffle on older tires. Wanted to pit during the caution, but couldn't. He's got an 1/8 of a tank of fuel left. Can he go 40 more laps to make it a one-stopper? That was unintentional. I did not have much time to select a pit there. I was still trying to make up my mind, and I wanted to pit at the last second and couldn't make it. Biffle's not the only one on the lead lap. We don't know exactly how many cars are on the lead lap. A lot of them are trapped a lap down, not only because of the green flag pit stops, but even before the caution, Biffle would lap a large part of the field. So we have our first caution of the race. We only had one caution the season opener at the Daytona road course last weekend. That was in the final 20 laps, not even halfway home. We've seen one tonight. We know we're going to have at least one more pit stop for the rest of the field. And Biffle's going to want that second caution before he pits, ideally. As he tries to hold on to the lead with Gordon closing in from behind, and he'll try to take his first lead of the night. A couple lap cars were able to get in front of Biffle on the restart to the inside. Tony Stewart and Casey Kane were those drivers. I don't know if they were 1 or 2 laps down. I know Stewart was probably more than 1 lap down, I would think, because he was one of the first cars to pit. Biffle trying to get around Stewart. I just don't see Biffle making it 30 more laps to get within the window. Gordon overdriving the corner just a bit. McMurray running around the Coliseum on the track. Is he running in a suit? Or is he in track gear? Or better yet, is he wearing a driver's suit? Biffle trying to loosen Stewart up. Maybe he can force Tony Stewart into a potential accident. Who knows? Gordon overdrives turn 3, trying to get behind Greg Biffle. I think Gordon could just be patient. He has to know Biffle's going to end up pitting here very shortly. Biffle just kind of holding on for dear life for right now. Just going to have to make sure that when he does decide to pit, nobody's on the outside of him so he can make it into the pit lane. Right now, he's got clean traffic. Just hoping for a second caution before he makes his stop. Biffle's going to have to make a stop here. He's going to lose at least 2 laps to Jeff Gordon. Gordon to the inside. Jeff Gordon to the lead. 3rd different leader of the night. 5 bonus points now for 4-time. Biffle will pit at lap 180 is what he is planning on doing. 3 wide to the inside, trying to take the lead back from Gordon. Gordon got hung up behind a lap car just a bit, but Gordon trying to power through. Biffle on the inside still. And Biffle will actually clear Gordon off turn 2, lead this lap. Now Biffle wants to get to the outside so he can pit this time. So Biffle will pit this time by 70 miles an hour is the pit road speed limit. And he gets down barely in time without speeding. 4 tires of fuel, no adjustments for the 16 of Biffle. Green flag pit stop, and definitely should have pitted under the caution. Now he can go until about lap 357 if we stay green that long, before he has to make his next pit stop. That's excluding the 3 laps we had under the caution flag. But I think from here, it's going to be tough to get back to the lead for Biffle. He got the caution he wanted. He stayed out long enough for it, but unfortunately, he missed the pit lane under the yellow, and that was all really that whole 16 team's fault, though. A little bit of damage going to be repaired. And again, what is a 2-stop race total? Biffle coming out of the pit lane, trying to merge into traffic. He is 2 laps down in 8th place, but now he's got fresher tires than everybody else in the field. And he's going to try to race his way back through. He's got a long time to go yet, but he's got to go quick, and he doesn't want to caution now while he's 2 down because he'll get trapped there. It's good that he's still in the top 10, though. Biffle's led over 100 laps today. Stewart's led 60, and now Gordon's out in front. Donuts on the left side or the right side? I don't think I've really made contact with the left side of the car. I've pretty much been stuck on the bottom the whole night. Primarily. It's short track racing though, Edwin. We're going to have that. No rivals so far in this race today, so hopefully that stays the way it is. So no tempers flaring so far. And a lot of cars have been passed by the 16 of Biffle as he moves the 191 up out of the way, trying to get through this traffic as quickly as he can. Probably only got a little more than 10 lap fresher tires than Jeff Gordon. Make a little bit of a difference. Not going to matter, though, if you're stuck in traffic. It's Tony Stewart for position. Biffle gets around, and Robbie Gordon gets knocked out of the way by Casey Mears from behind. Mears involved in that first caution. One of 3 cars involved. Biffle slides up in front of his teammate Martin. Luckily, he had him cleared. Got a bit loose that time, and then Martin overdrives turn 3. Well, we could have 2 different winners in the first 2 races. Our next race of the season will be the Daytona 500. We have a non-points race before that, a couple of them in fact, as we have the Budweiser Shootout coming up later on this week. This coming weekend, I should say. We'll have the Budweiser Shootout, and then we'll have the duel in the Daytona 500 on the same day next weekend on Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday, in fact. Making it the 1 week mark before the Daytona 500 in real life. So we'll continue the road to Daytona. Well, actually, the Busch Clash will be in the daytime because it starts at 6, but it's only going to be 3 o'clock on the West Coast. So it starts at 6 Eastern, but it'll be 3 o'clock Eastern on the West, and it's only 150 laps for the main event, so it'll be over before it gets dark outside. 150 laps on a quarter-mile short track's not going to be a very long race. Even with the break at the halfway point, that'll probably be about 10 minutes. It'll probably end in like the dusk time, but I don't think it'll be completely dark. Oh, Biffle put the bumper to McMurray. Not wasting any time there. Still got to take care of the car. We're only halfway home. Still one more pit stop left to go, so he can repair a little bit of damage one more time as he repaired a bit during that first stop. Ideally, if Biffle could get to 1 lap down and then we get a caution, he could actually restart right alongside the leaders on the inside while the lead lap cars would be on the outside on the restart. That would be ideal for Greg Biffle, but he'd have to get one of his 2 laps back first. May take a little bit. Kind of expected we were going to get a caution in the middle of green flag stops because of how narrow it is with pit road exit and entrance. Cars coming in as cars were moving on. I have no clue how that would work. Are you asking me how I do it, or like is that an option? I have no clue. I've never played iRacing, so I don't know if it's actually possible. CCOO, welcome to the stream. Biffle all over the back of Michael Waltrip trying to make the pass on the 15. Might be for position. It is not. Oh. Contact again in turns 3 and 4 as Biffle rubs by Waltrip. Might see some drivers short pit in about another 30 to 50 laps. I think it wouldn't be impossible that they would do that. The last good EA Sports game. I thought 06 and 07 were good. They weren't as good as 05, but I thought they were good games. They weren't like all-time classics, but they were good games, in my personal opinion. Contact with Bobby Boone. Biffle couldn't get underneath him that time with Ward Burton on the outside. Boone holding up the bottom. Gets knocked out of the way off the exit of turn 2. Biffle, again, is desperate. He's a couple laps down. He's on a little bit fresher tires. The green flag pit stop after the caution. He's trying to desperately get back into this race. What do you mean by these drivers? Like, in this game, or? Contact with Robbie Gordon. He's trying not to make contact with every other car in the field, but he's pushing so hard. He's using these guys up a little bit. But yeah, this is the second different paint scheme I've used. We ran the National Guard red, white, and blue paint scheme the first race. Now we have this red, black, and white Granger paint scheme. Different paint scheme from Biffle's rookie season that we ran with the NASCAR Thunder 2004, but same Granger sponsor. And real NASCAR. Yeah, there's some nice paint schemes for the Busch Clash this year. I really like Brad Keselowski's paint scheme this weekend. I think he's got probably the best paint scheme in the field this weekend, to be completely honest. A lot of the paint schemes he'll be running this year look like they're going to be really slick. I guess he stated on Race Hub that he's actually behind the scenes in making or designing the paint schemes on most of these cars, or most of the paint scheme on the car. So, great job for Brad Keselowski. He's got some taste in good paint schemes. But the one he's racing this weekend is probably my favorite of the three. Kohler car looks pretty good. Granted, the Kohler car I thought was good even when Newman drove it. It looks even better this year, personally. A bumper to Dale Jr. Not for position. So Biffle's still sitting in 6th place. He was in 8th when he first came out of the pits. A little over 40 laps ago now. So he's gained a couple spots. But we still have a little bit of a ways to go. 175 laps left. I think Blaney's going to lead the most laps in the Clash. I have my pick to win, but I'm saving my predictions for Sunday. I have my prediction for who will win the race, personally. No fantasy this weekend, by the way. I will be doing the Fantasy League again, just like I did last year. Same rules apply if you win the regular season championship or the playoff championship. You get 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing in 2022. But as far as excluding the Daytona 500, or in 2023, excluding the Daytona 500 for the following year. But as far as this weekend goes, no fantasy this weekend. It starts the Daytona 500, so nothing for the duels and nothing for the Clash, and the All-Star race doesn't have it. There's no fantasy for the exhibition races. So it won't be that long of a predictions video, but expect that on Sunday, and expect the full season predictions video to be out tonight after this stream. Well, Biffle has ran down Gordon once at least. Not that far behind Jeff. Dives underneath Jamie McMurray off the exit of turn 2, 3 wide into 3 with the 122 car there. Biffle slides up in front of McMurray, gonna go a bit wide. He's gonna get back down to the bottom though in front of the 42 and under the 43 of Jeff Green. Tony Stewart in line right behind the 24. Jeff Gordon. Stewart overdrives turn 1. And underneath Gordon in the 24. Throws a little side swipe on him as he works his way by Gordon, trying to make sure he was going to clear him into turn 1, and did. Now looking to get around Ryan Newman, and does cleanly. So Biffle's 1 lap down. Trying to come from 2 down. Everybody has to make 1 more stop in this race, including Biffle. Roughing up Sterling Marlin a bit, too. Usually see me race pretty clean, and I don't know why I'm making contact with as many... Well, I should say I am making contact with as many cars. I know why. It's because of how tight and small this racetrack is. I'll say Biffle has been on the bottom almost all night. He really only got shifted to the outside on one occasion. And only a couple cars had gotten around him before he had to go back down to the bottom. You have some green flag pit stops going on over the last couple laps as the windows open to make it to the end of the race on fuel. It is very risky to pit, though. Again, we saw some cautions earlier. I would not be surprised if we see any potentially right now as well. So we're going to have to watch those cars leaving and entering the pit lane. Stops will be a lot more sporadic during this green flag run compared to the prior green flag run. Contact with Michael Waltrip. Biffle gets by. Drives underneath Dale Jarrett in the 88. 3 wide. Kyle Petty on the outside. Biffle gets a bit loose. Contact with Jarrett. Lap car coming out of the pits, getting up to speed on the outside. Brian Vickers, he'll stay wide to let the 6th place car, Biffle, clear off the exit of turn 4. Well, typically I race clean. Tonight is not a good showing of that. Squeezed by Brendan Gaughan now. Honestly, I feel like Ryan Blaney would be pretty close in driving style. What I see here, he's driving like Kyle Busch. Tonight, I could see it. Blaney trying to make up this deficit. He knows he's got the fastest car in the field. It would be a shame leading as many laps as he's led tonight if he goes on to not win this race. So, as far and as long as it's probably going to take for him to even get back in contention, Jeff Gordon is in a good spot to potentially lead the most laps, even with Biffle leading over 100 laps in this race. Gordon has had the lead for almost 90 laps his own right now. Bump and run to Ricky Craven, 32 car. Into the side of Ricky Rudd. Bit loose getting back to the gas that time around. Like a maniac. That's fair. That's fair. I'm all for constructive criticism. You guys try to race from behind on a track like this when you know you have the fastest car and you have less than 150 to go and you're a lap down. 150 laps might seem like a long time here, but considering you get 4 laps in a minute, it's going to click away before you know it. Biffle does not want to get trapped a lap down if we get a caution as well. He'd like to get back on the lead lap. You'd have to assume everybody's going to pit if we get a caution, which would even the playing field back up. Oh, wow. Kevin Harvick overdrove turns 1 and 2 quite a bit there. 123 car's got quite a bit of damage to the back of his car after being involved in that first and only caution of the race. So we went to lap 163 before seeing our first caution. We haven't seen one since. So almost a 100 lap green flag run for the second different time today. 3 wide to the inside. Johnson squeezed, but no contact that time around. Biffle will stay underneath the 48. Contact that time, a little bump and run. Biffle makes the pass. That was for position, and Biffle now up to 5th. Well, the generator drivers passed that time from Biffle. Wonder if Dale Jr. might be for position this time around. He wasn't the last time Biffle had gotten around him. A little bump to the back of Dale Jr. that time. Nothing doing. Jr. not moving right now. Biffle to the inside. 3 wide. Elliott Sadler on the outside. This is for position. Both spots. Actually, Sadler was also for position. Biffle clears them both. He's up to 3rd. Three wide for 3rd place. Sadler going to cross over Dale Jr. to get back to 4th. Jr. drops back to 5th once again. Ryan Newman, right in front of Greg Biffle. Biffle looking low. Remember, Newman was tough to pass earlier on in the day, last time these two were around one another. Biffle to the inside of Newman into 3. Past Ricky Craven as well on corner entries. The 12 slides in front of the 32 on the outside. Halfway on fuel during this run for Biffle. Means a little bit less than halfway for the rest of the drivers who pitted either before the caution or during the caution. Some have pit since the yellow. They can make it on fuel, the ones that have. Elijah Buddy Jenkins, welcome to the stream. Do I drive a real NASCAR? No, I do not. I'd like to commentate in real NASCAR. Be doing it this weekend on the channel for the Busch Clash. Be sure to tune in. Bump to the back of Robbie Gordon getting into turn 3. Big slide by Biffle. Kept it from clearing Robbie Gordon that time around. Waltrip pulls down on top of Biffle. Contact between the two now as they get back to the start-finish line. Biffle's almost back on the lead lap. Close, but not there yet. Biffle looks to the inside of Stewart into turn 1. Stewart trying to pinch the 16 down there. Contact, up the track they go as they got clunked on one another. Oh no, Stewart's in the barrier. Caution's out at lap 285 for the second time tonight. That's not good because that may trap Biffle a lap down. Tony Stewart hard into the tire barrier at the front of the pit road entrance, bringing out our second caution of the night. 16 to the 20 got clung up on one another after making contact in the middle of turns 1 and 2, and they couldn't get off of one another. And well, we see a tire barrier caution here tonight, and I'm sure everybody will be pitting during the yellow. Gordon, Kane, Biffle, RN Jr., the rest of the field, Stewart, who was involved in the accident. 4 tires and fuel coming. I don't know if Biffle would have been the first car lap down or if Casey Kane would have been the first car lap down. It'll be interesting to see. We won't find out until these guys go green. Exactly who will be on the lead lap and who won't be. Everybody that pitted before the caution flag will get trapped an extra probably 2 laps down. And we're seeing pit stops for the second time tonight. Money stop here for these crews that have a shot to win still. Hopefully we don't lose another lap under the caution. I didn't even think about that. Biffle had Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart beat him out of the pit lane. Biffle's lined up at the back of the pack. That tells me he may have gotten the free pass. We'll see. Green flag back in the air. He is third and he is on the lead lap. So yes, Greg Biffle got the free pass with the caution, but unfortunately he's at the tail end of the field. And he has 110 laps to try and make up the ground and pass every car in the field to challenge Casey Kane and Jeff Gordon for the win. Kane to the lead on the restart, getting by Gordon. Maybe a little help with the lap traffic. Kane will lead his first lap of the race. The rookie leads at the Dodge Raceway in just the second race of his career, with it being the second race of the season. Jamie McMurray in 2002 won in his second career start. Trevor Bayne eventually in 2011 would win the Daytona 500 in his second career start. Those are the only 2 drivers to do that in NASCAR Cup Series history. Can Kane become another to etch his name in history tonight? He's had a quiet but good day, and now he's leading for the first time late. Everybody's on equal tires. Biffle doesn't have fresher tires like he did the first time when they were working through the traffic. And will we see a third caution before the end of the race? That 2 green flag runs over 100 laps so far. We'll see if we get a third. That will take us to the checker. Biffle over 8 seconds off the lead from Casey Kane, who's got clean air for now. And is quickly closing in on that lap traffic already, and we're not even that far after the restart. Maybe 10 laps. Probably catch him in another lap or 2. 100 to go this time by. That was not a good idea. I had an itch on my nose. I should have paused it. Biffle going to lose the bottom of the track now. Brendan Gaughan in front of him. Contact with Brian Vickers. Now, if we get another caution, though, Biffle will get to restart right in line behind both Casey Kane and Jeff Gordon. That would also give somebody else another shot as they'll get back on the lead lap. Ward Burton in the 0 on the outside, trying to get on the pit road. He is blowing up with less than 100 laps left, and his night will come to an end. Might have been the first engine failure we've seen tonight. Contact with Bobby Labonte. Slipped off the exit of turn 2. Well, who's going to get through the lap traffic better? Is it going to be Biffle, Gordon, or Kane? Somebody could have unlapped themselves on the restart as well, potentially. And is hoping for a caution on top of whoever would get the free pass to get back on the lead lap that way as well. If we see another caution flag. The aggression only going to amplify. We are closer and closer to the end of the race. We're now going to alternate through the different camera angles. From now to the end of the race, we'll wait till we get back to the start-finish line next time. So we'll work through the different camera angles for the next dozen laps. Still stinks that there's no cockpit cam in this. Like NASCAR Thunder 2004 had. Well, with Kane leading right now, it's got to be very, very close between who has led the most laps today between Jeff Gordon and Greg Biffle. Man, Biffle just shot Newman right into the back of Robbie Gordon. I think you're thinking of, if you're talking about my sponsor, it would be Granger. And if I remember correctly, I think I'm thinking it's a tool company. Tool or a toolbox company. I don't know if they're still in business or not, though. Biffle on the inside of Jimmy Johnson was 3 wide, now side by side. Boxed in, though, with Johnson up high. Rusty Wallace on the bottom. Biffle potentially looking underneath Wallace. A little contact with the 2. More contact with the 2 off the exit of turn 4. Biffle working on teammate Kurt Busch. Should get around the 97 cleanly. Busch going to give him plenty more room than what Rusty Wallace gave him. The only other thing I can think of, if it's not a tool company, I think it's like a turf builder or something like that, kind of like Scott's. That would be my second guess. I know I've seen it when I worked in the Lowe's store before. I just can't quite pinpoint exactly what it was. to the back of Bobby Labonte. Biffle still trying to move Labonte out of the way. He's only gained a couple seconds over the last 35 to 40 laps since the restart. That pace is not going to be quick enough to catch Kasey Kahne and Jeff Gordon. Abituller has Hamlin as opposing. A tooler or a tool? Per Wikipedia, Granger Inc. is an American Fortune 500 industrial supply company founded in 1927 by Chicago William W. Granger. Well, you learn something new every day. Big stack up on the outside. Some contact made there. Oh, Biffle's gonna make it 4 wide. He gets sideways in the middle of the corner. Hangs on to it. He drove it in pretty deep there. Still 3 wide. Did a great job not getting into Stewart. Those two already made contact with each other once today. See the trail of smoke Biffle left. So they race back through that lap into turns 1 and 2. Contact with Jarrett. Got clung up on him like he did with Stewart earlier. Luckily, the tire barrier is on the back stretch and not the front stretch. About 4.5 seconds off the lead for Biffle. Kasey Kahne still out in front after taking the lead on the restart from Gordon. Not sure how close or far behind Jeff Gordon is from Kasey Kahne. Biffle maybe has been getting through the lap traffic a lot better here these last dozen laps or so, despite the contact he had with Dale Jarrett. Definitely making some bold moves to say the least. He may have a chance to get there before the end. Jeff Burton, another one of Biffle's teammates, gonna let him by with ease. 60 laps to go at the line. 2.5 seconds back as Biffle gaining a couple seconds every 10 to 12 laps now. That pace will be quick enough to catch the leaders. Jeff Gordon has just passed Kasey Kahne for the lead. We got a car blowing up on the outside of the track, and I believe it was Kasey Kahne. Problems for the rookie, leading late. With 59 laps to go, he has blown an engine. And that will put Greg Biffle to second. And Gordon back out in front once again. And how can Gordon pull away? What a tough break for Kasey Kahne. Biffle slides off the exit of turn 4. Holds on to it. Rookie was trying to make history, winning in his second career Cup start, leading and blowing an engine with 59 laps left. What a tough break. Ryan Newman blew an engine while running second at the Daytona road course with less than 20 laps to go in our first race of the season. So problems with the Dodges, struggling to make it to the end of the race in the early going of the season while contending for wins. A Penske Dodge and an Evernham Dodge, so not even the same teams either. Something with the engine department there is not right. Biffle gonna make it 3 wide into turn 1. Seen this throughout the course of the race. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. It usually doesn't on a track of this style. But that time Biffle gets through with no contact whatsoever. Since Gordon took the lead, Biffle's not quite running him down as well as what he was. Kane, and he nearly hooks Dill Jr. off the exit of turn 2, and Jr.'s just going to let him go, saying, hey, I don't want to get turned here. He's probably still inside the top 10. Evernham team never... They did blow engines from time to time, didn't they? Yeah, that's right. Casey Kane's rookie year, he came so close to winning a bunch of times. That's right, but sometimes he had like engine failures late, or he got caught up in somebody else's accident. Man, it's just like real life. In 2004, Casey Kane having the same issues here in this game to start this season off. That's tough because it's a season-long points format. That DNF could come back to haunt him. Not just for the Rookie of the Year standings, but potential championship. Remember, he finished 4th in the standings as a rookie in our first season under the Chase format. 47 to go at the line for Jeff Gordon as he leads more laps. Gordon, I believe, has led a little bit more than Greg Biffle in this race, but Biffle is closing in fast. 3 wide off the exit of turn 4 underneath teammate Matt Kenseth. Another Dodge driver in the Penske, number 2, Rusty Wallace. Biffle gonna get through. Almost got through cleanly. He did make a bit of contact with Wallace off of turn 4. And he's right in line behind Jeff Gordon. Puts the bumper to Gordon. He's not wasting time at all. Gordon leads the lap at the line, but now it's Greg Biffle battling on the inside. Some donuts on the left side of Gordon's race car. Not from Biffle, I can tell you that much. Biffle clear. He got into his left rear, not the left side, but Greg Biffle is out in front for the second different time tonight at the Dodge Raceway as he tries to win the first 2 races of the season. Thanks for getting rid of the bot down in the chat, by the way, Patrick. Biffle overdrives turn 3. Wasn't paying enough attention there. Got a bit loose. Ooh, contact. Oh, more contact. Oh, that stacked a couple cars up. Ricky Rhoda almost ended up in the tire barrier. Biffle might get stuck on the outside now. Luckily, he was able to get back down to the bottom in front of Petty. 39 laps to go at Dodge Raceway. Gordon trying to get around Labonte. Gordon still stuck behind Rusty Wallace. Contact between Labonte and Biffle off of turn 4. Biffle's got to calm down here. He has the lead. He's slowly pulling away. He's had the faster car all night long. If he leads to the end of the race, I think he'll lead the most laps. That would be the first 2 races of the year he would have max points days with a win. If he can obviously hold on to do so. Lost 2 titles on this game, dude. Mechanical failures as a Dodge. Well, it's a good thing we didn't run as a Dodge in either season on this game. We didn't even run as a Dodge in the truck or the Busch series either. I don't know if I did in the modifieds or not. One and a half second lead for Greg Biffle. Now just at this point hoping it stays green to the end of the race. 30 to go. Biffle is definitely slowly getting away from Gordon. Trying to hustle to get to that white flag. So the next flag will end the race. Well, I guess there's no cautions on the final lap in this game. And I guess the race could end under caution if we get one in the final couple laps as well. Especially at a short track like this, maybe 5 or 6 to go could do it. Two-and-a-half-second lead for Biffle. You wonder if Casey Kane would have been able to hold on. Biffle's coming through pretty quickly. He got to Gordon fairly quick. And Gordon wasn't that far behind Casey Kane. Maybe he'd still be battling, who knows, but I guess we'll never know. Jacob Givens, welcome to the stream. Greg Biffle, OP. He did finish in the top 5 in points in 2004, so he had a pretty good season. 2004 to 2006 were probably the best years of his career. I'd say 2005 was probably his best season statistically. We'll have that benefit in the next game. Season-long points format, trying to win the championship. Underneath Tony Stewart right now. Stewart puts the bumper to Sterling Marlin as he's 3 wide middle. Nemechek now muscles to the inside of the 20. "20 laps to go at the Dodge Raceway now. I have to say, though, the Cup Series, for whatever reason, has been a lot more calm. And I guess it is the Cup Series compared to the Busch or the Truck Series in this game. But we'll see. The next points race is the Daytona 500. We have 3 straight races at Daytona leading up to the Daytona 500 in real life yet on this game. The Budweiser Shootout exhibition race will be next on the channel. That will be on Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the Gatorade Duel at Daytona, the Twin 125, and the Daytona 500 will take place on a doubleheader next Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday on the channel. Our last Sunday before NASCAR. And then we're going to have NASCAR every race weekend, or every weekend from then until Father's Day in June. Just think about that and let that set in. The live commentary, we're probably not going to be video gaming it on Sundays very much longer, but we will in doubleheader style, doubleheader fashion next weekend. Three wide, Biffle underneath Sadler, Vickers. Just over a 5-second lead for Greg Biffle. He's pretty much got this race won as long as it just stays green to the end. Never had to worry about severe damage tonight despite the beating and banging, but we've seen that all throughout the field. Not just with Greg Biffle. Or to Greg Biffle. Kind of figured that was going to happen on the 3/8 mile short track tonight. 10 laps to go this time by. Sorry, 9 to go this time by. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon's teammate. The outside of Greg Biffle. did not hold him up to try and help his teammate. I think it would have been too little too late anyway. Biffle's got a 7-second lead over Gordon. I don't think Johnson would have held him up that much in the final 7 laps. Second a lap is a fast time on any track, but on a track where you're only running about 13-second lap times, even harder. Pace has fallen off about a half a second, and about 13.5 that last lap. 13.023 has been Biffle's fastest lap of the race. He was in the second half of the race on his second set of tires where he set that fast lap time. Jumped back up to a 13.3 that last lap. 4 to go at the line. Late enough now, caution may just end the race. Greg Biffle will be 4 for 4 between the 2 Busch races and the 2 Cup races. Both points paying on both seasons for the custom schedule season in 04. This is our first fantasy track of the year. Second fantasy track of the year. 1 road course, 1 oval. We have plenty more fantasy road courses to come by, and I believe we have 1 more fantasy oval before the end of the season as well. Final lap of the race. We'll finish it off with 2 cautions, and that's it. And 400 laps of the Dodge Raceway. The Dodge dealer's 400 will go to Greg Biffle, his second win of the young season. Kits are done with a different sponsor, a different paint scheme. And Biffle will start 2 for 2, just like he did in the Busch Series earlier in the week at Bristol, another stadium short track. And a smoke show in turns 1 and 2, and we're going to be doing it underneath the grandstands on the backstretch. People aren't going to be able to breathe under here. All right, there we go. 1 hour, 34 minutes to get the 400 laps in, even with the 2 caution flags we had in this one, and only 2 drivers finish on the lead lap today. There would have been 3. Casey Cantu was leading with 59 laps to go in the race. Blew an engine while leading. Who knows if he would have had a shot to win late. He obviously was in a great position otherwise, but it laid into the hands of Biffle and Gordon to battle it out in the final 30 laps, and Greg Biffle was able to get the victory, leading the most laps as well. So not only has won the first 2 races, but he has also led the most laps in the first 2 races of this Cup Series season, leading only 32 more laps than what Jeff Gordon did here tonight. Started dead last in doing so versus Gordon starting 5th. So Gordon does finish runner-up in 2nd. Dale Jr. didn't lead a lap, but he finished 3rd. Elliott Sadler with a great run finishes 4th. And Dale Jarrett rounds out the top 5. So both of the Robert Yates Racing Fords finished top 5 tonight. Great run for those guys. Tony Stewart, who started on the pole in the first 60 laps of the race, he finished in 6th. Michael Waltrip had a great run, top 10 all day, finishes 7th. Rusty Wallace 8th, Jamie McMurray 9th, and Matt Kenseth rounds out the top 10. Smoking out the fans above you. Yes, we were. Probably thought there was a fire going on down there. And we'll check to see who all DNF'd in this race. Only 2 drivers failed to finish. Casey Cantu led 50 laps in today's race, all in the final 110. Off that final restart, unfortunately blew an engine while leading. Tough break for him. And Ward Burton we saw blow an engine at lap 292 as well. So only 2 drivers failed to finish. Derek Cope finished the race at 41st, but he finished 18 laps down. That's such a Derek Cope thing to do. My goodness. Kind of expected that those kinds of backmarker drivers though to finish a lot of laps down on this kind of a racetrack. You got only 13-second lap times. By far the shortest track on the circuit this season, and that is the only trip to the Dodge Raceway this year as well. Again, our next points race will be the Daytona 500 next Sunday on the channel for this game, but we will be live streaming this game next on Monday when we do the Daytona International Speedway Nighttime Edition, Budweiser Shootout Edition. So we'll try to go for a win to kick off Speed Weeks on NASCAR 05 at least. And Speed Weeks, of course, as well for real life. As far as tomorrow night's stream goes, let me check it out, but I believe we're back on NASCAR 21 Ignition. Actually, it might be NASCAR 05 for the Busch Series. Let me check. Check this weekly streaming schedule. It is up in the community tab already for you guys to check as well. Yes, NASCAR 21 Ignition live stream tomorrow night. That's what I figured. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be our last video game live stream of the weekend because we'll be doing live commentary for the Busch Clash on Sunday with the heat races starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by the last chance races, and then the main event at 6. I'll be live streaming all of those races on that weekend. You get to hear driver interviews as well as my live commentary, and you will also get to see the stats, statistics throughout the course of the racing on Sunday, as well as the leaderboard itself. So that is going to wrap it up tonight. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I'll see you back better than ever tomorrow at 6.